Well, hello, everybody. I hope you are having a great day and ready to get busy crafting and having some fun. I hope that the weather has been as gorgeous for you as it has been for us. I'm telling you, it has been absolutely outstanding here. Today, I went and sat outside, had my devotions, been absolutely loving it. And I hope that you've been able to get a little bit of a break from the heat. It was really rough for our group that we had last week. I felt terrible for them. But this week, so far, so good. So we will see. All right. So today we are going to work on our mini album. And as you can see, I have several different designs here and things for you to be able to see. And so I'm really excited about it. I'm hoping that we are everywhere we need to be. I'm trying to keep track and see. It seems like every time I'm on here, I can never see anybody's comments. So I'm hoping I've got three things going right now so that maybe I can see comments. Hey, Geneva, I at least see that you're here with me. So thank you. And like I said, hopefully it will keep showing everybody who's here. All right, so these are mini albums, and I wanted to show you guys some different ideas of some things that you could use to create these different albums, some different ideas. You can make them your own, and I absolutely love them. I think this is a great idea for gift giving, for talking about like different themes, different things that you can do, all of that. So this idea came from another demonstrator who does like a Christian Facebook group. And so she created this mini album, which I loved. And so I'm going to start here and kind of show you so you can kind of see where I got the idea from. So the whole idea was the walking by faith. And she took a Bible verse there. Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid. Matthew 14:27. And she created this cute little mini album. And so what we are going to create today is going to be the summer version, but I wanted you guys just to see some different ways that you could use it, some things that you could say with it, do different things like that. So it's a multi-page album. You can see it's got some vellum here, some places that you can go and add more journaling, do pictures, that kind of thing. You've got some here. Be able to lift it up. Now, what's great about this paper pack is that it has like all these little pieces that you can just cut out and design and use them as an embellishment. And that's kind of what we're going to do in some of our others, but I love that it had this background. And so tonight, actually, I'm going to be creating with the silly old bear. And it has a lot of those designs in it too, but believe it or not, I didn't do a whole lot with them. So we'll see. Maybe we'll play with them a little bit more and pull them in. So you can see here, just added those. This you take out, and then we can turn it into having some more journaling or some more pictures. You could do some here as well. A really cute little just album that you can just tell a story of maybe the way that the Lord has like built your faith up and has encouraged you to not be afraid in different walks of life. So that's what this one is. And so again, this is kind of where I got the idea from. And then the one that we're going to create, like I said, is this Hello Summer. So I'll show you that in a minute. Oh, I'm glad you like it, Geneva. I hope you create with me. Okay, so this is one I created, and this was actually the theme that I had. So we've had some stuff going on here, and it was God is always so good because I was reading this Bible verse, count it all joy when you face trials of various kinds. And in the middle of that, I got a phone call, and it was a good sized trial. And so I thought, okay, God, you are preparing me. You're there with me. And so I want to take this album and kind of tell that story. And so right now, just because time was short, I haven't had a chance to tell the story and put the pictures in here and write and do my journaling. But I wanted to give you some ideas of some of the things that you could do. And so I'll probably put a picture here, then do some more journaling here. I can go back and add some embellishments up here. I will say that I did just because we're looking at it and because I know that this one's going to be mostly for me to kind of keep and tell my story. I did go back and add a few little embellishments in here, and I did pop things up a little bit, that kind of thing. But because it's not your traditional scrapbook that's in a page protector, I did not add a lot of gems and that kind of thing because I wanted it just to kind of be protected. The gems may tend to come off just a little bit if you do that. So totally up to you on that, but that was just kind of what I did for it. So that's just another one for you to kind of look and see. And then again, the one that we're going to create tonight is going to be this Hello Summer. Now, I hope to kind of give you some ideas as we walk through this. Here we go. Of some different things that you can think of. And I'll tell you, even after doing these three, I may go a little slow tonight because you can change them up however you want. In my directions that I have written up, I kind of give you an idea of take this piece and cut this and this and this, but you can change up the pieces however you want based upon how you want your layout and the look to go. And you'll kind of see as I do that. So again, this is the one that we're going to create tonight. Absolutely love this paper. I think it is so fun. It's perfect for summer. It's perfect for just anything that you want to, showcase as an adventure, as being fun and lighthearted. Just perfect in my opinion. So again, same thing. I kept all of the elements basically the same, just added on some different embellishments, that kind of thing. I use some of our ephemera here. So if you received your kit from me, you should have some of this ephemera as well. And then we have some of these pieces, and these came from the washi tape. There's just like this, and you can cut. I sent you in your kit 2 sheets of the washi tape, and you can cut those sheets out and use them however you want. There's also one little piece like this in your kit. So obviously you don't want to cut that one up, but you'll have the longer pieces that you can cut up. If you have the die cuts, that makes it super easy, cuts those right out. It's perfect. But we're going to hold the embellishments for last because I want to make sure that we get all of this done tonight. And then you can go back and embellish things up however you want. Okay. So this is just the idea of what we're doing tonight. Some more embellishments from the washi tape. This again is another piece from the ephemera. Just a super fun, cute idea. And I have 20-year-olds now in my house. I keep telling them that I'm not as old as everybody would think, right? Ha ha ha. But I really am, because I really want to fit in still with them and be cool. But I don't know. I think I lost that many, many years ago, maybe like when they were 6. But anyway, I'm noticing that they are loving these little journals too. They love to create them. They love to fill them in with their pictures and one story, and super fun, super easy, something for them to create. And so just something to kind of keep in mind if you're going to be giving this to somebody, maybe if it's like their senior year or their senior graduation or a birthday album where they can just go and put pictures in from a special event. Maybe for prom, different things like that. So just things to kind of keep up with. It'd be really fun for just a weekend adventure that you took. You could do something like that. Again, tell the story of maybe a way that God's kind of walked you through something. So that's just a lot of the different ideas that I kind of had with this. And the one that I'm going to do tonight is going to be kind of like as a baby gift idea that I have. So, and it doesn't have to be, Pooh absolutely does not have to be, but I love it, Pooh, and that was my oldest son's the theme. So what we're going to do is actually I'm going to put these 2 away. I'm going to leave this one out, and we're going to use this kind of as our guide because you're going to be creating this one. So I want you to be able to see what each piece looks like, and I'm going to be creating a different one. And so again, as I may be going a little bit slower than you are because my pieces are a little bit different, but I think it's going to be fun. Now, the first thing I want to show you is, a couple of things. You are going to need your paper cutter. I did pre-cut as much as I possibly could, but there's going to be a few things that you may need to cut, and you definitely are going to want your scoring blade or scoring tool. And then if you have a bone folder, you're going to want that. And then you're going to want a really heavy duty tape. Or you could use a liquid adhesive, something like that. But because we're doing an interactive mini album, you're going to want something that's going to be a little bit more, it's going to hold up a little bit better, a little bit more heavy duty. So I've got the Terran tape here. You could use this, score tape, whatever you want. But you definitely are going to want to have those things as well as your regular adhesive and such. Okay, so in your kit, you should have, if you recognize this one says White Willow, but these are the little cardboard pieces that come in with our cardstock. And just a quick reminder, the cardstock and DSP is on sale until the end of the month. So make sure you get yours now if you're wanting to kind of get stocked up on that. Okay, so this is a great base. And again, this is why it works really well for if you like to junk journal or you know somebody who does. This is taking some of the things that we might think is junk and don't want and using them to create an album. And it's going to give us the sturdiness that we need. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece first, and we're just going to go ahead and score it at 4 inches. And it doesn't matter if you do it upside down or however, because you're going to end up cutting all of the pieces. Okay. So this is an 8 by 12, and we're going to score it at 4 inches. So I need to get rid of my cutting blade, or I will make that mistake. I'm very well known for that. Okay. And then while I've got this out, I'm going to take my other piece, same thing. It's another piece of the, what do you call it, of the cardboard. And we're going to score this one at 6 by 6. So basically we're doing it in half. So it's a 6 by 12 and we're just doing it 6 by 6. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and I'll put this away just for a second. And I want to think about this because I want to make sure nothing is going to be seen. You're going to have like a little bit of an edge on this. So what I would do is go ahead, and I think we'll be okay if we do it like this. I think we're going to cover that enough. Okay. And then same thing on here. And we're just going to go ahead and fold this down and go ahead and take your, and varnish this down is what you want to do right here. Push that. So nice, good, clean slot. Okay. So this is going to be our base, and then we'll come back to this in a minute. This is going to be our base. So what we want to do is in your kit, you should have a couple 8 by 8 squares. And so for your 8 by 8 square, go ahead and take it out. You're going to have the polka dot here that you see. And because I said I'm going to do mine with a silly old bear, I'm going to go ahead and grab mine real quick. And I'm going to do it with the woods paper. Shocker, right? All right. Now, because this is the base, go ahead and use your score tape to make sure that, or your tear and tape to make sure it's nice and secure. We won't have to use this throughout the whole thing, but when we're creating our base, we definitely want to. And try and get it as close to the edges as possible so that you can make sure that you've got a good grip on the size and it doesn't roll up. Again, because people are going to be handling it and it's not in a page protector, you just want to kind of think of the different things that you would need to do to make sure that it lasts a long, long time. Okay. And I've got a couple rolls of these because I go through them so quickly. So I'm sure you're going to see me go through a bunch of them tonight. Okay. And then I'm just going to put one big thing in the center. And I almost got fearful there for a second thinking, uh-oh, I'm doing it on the wrong side, but I'm not. I do want the green side showing. All right. So maybe take a pick tool. This thing comes in so handy as I'm trying to kind of get just the edges. I don't know if you've ever kind of played with trying to peel this tear and tape up, but it is not easy, especially if you have pretty nails and they're done. As you can see, mine are not right now, but hopefully one day they will be. One day soon. But I've had the time to do it, and oops, that one got put up underneath the other piece. But I know on the times that I've had it in the past, that was always an issue. All right. So hopefully you're about the same spot I am. You're just going to go ahead and put this here. Sure you, if it has, yours does not, but if you're creating this along with me, you want to make sure that you, if it has a direction, that you put it down at the correct direction. Ask me why I know this. Okay, there you go. Now, one thing I will tell you, I cut these directly at the 8 by 8, the 4 by 8, all of that when I could pre-cut these for you. But because we are folding it down, you may need to go back after you put it down here and take off some up at the very bottom. So you can see I've got a little bit of an edging, and I will do that when I'm all done if it still shows an issue. But you want to make sure that you do it either right below it or right above where it folds, so that it doesn't have a hard time folding when and closing as we need it to be. All right, so then you've got a 4 by 8 piece, and yours is going to be this striped piece. So go ahead and take your striped piece and you're going to lay that down. I have to tell you, it was really hard. I have multiple packs of this paper, but whenever that there's a design on it, like you see right here, where you can cut them out with the die cuts and create a quick card or an embellishment for my layouts, I have such a hard time covering up this piece. I don't know if anybody else does. Geneva, do you have a hard time doing that, or are you just like, okay, I know what I want. Let me go to it, because I know that I struggle with that sometimes. But again, I knew I had several of them, so I did it. All right, here we go. All right. And I will say I've got this streaming in a couple different places, so I'm trying to watch and see who's on, but it may not show everybody who's on the one page that I've got pulled up on here. So if I'm missing you, I apologize, but I'm glad you're here. All right, so right here, same thing. I'm just going to go right to the corner, right to that lid, because I want to make sure that it's going to be easier to cut it off at the bottom than it is if I cut it off from the top because of the fold. So I'm just going straight up to the top, laying that down, and then if it does have a little bit of overhang, I could go back and cut that off, but that looks good to me. So we're good with that. Okay, so that's all we're going to do right now here on the front cover. We will go ahead and do the back. So you should have an 8x8 piece on the back that kind of goes like this. Now I had my piece go across, go horizontally, but if you want yours to go vertically, feel free, or portrait, feel free. So go ahead and take that piece. So on this one, I'm trying to keep it fun, and I could go with either one, but I really want it to be fun and playful. And because the front is almost a little plain for me, I'm going with a lot of fun on the back. What is that? I feel like what they say, something. Oh, what was it? It was like years ago when I think people used to have oh, my brain's not working. Oh, what was it? With the short hair in the front and the long hair in the back, and they would say like work in the front and party in the back or something like that. I don't know, but we're going that way. Okay. Let's see, there went one, and this one barely has anything. So this one's not going to last me very long. And like I said, I don't have to use this all throughout the layout, but there's a couple key places that we do. So have you created, you said you bought several. Gina, what have you created with yours? I'd love to know. I've got a couple layouts that I'm getting ready to do, and this would be my second mini album. And I don't know, there's just something about Pooh. And it's interesting too, my daughter-in-law, whom I absolutely adore, she is pregnant and due in October. We're very, very excited, but she is not a Pooh fan. Like, I was so excited when I saw Pooh. I was like, yes. And she's like, yeah, I'm not a Pooh fan. I was like, what? I cannot imagine. I just love all the different things of Pooh and the sayings and the friendships and all the things, but that's okay. I still love her. She's still awesome. So here we go. I think I showed on here a week or two ago the different toadstools. I always think of them as mushrooms, but I think the appropriate thing now to call them is toadstools. We made those for her shower, so she loves frogs, and it kind of still goes with the animal theme, right? I'm all about the wildlife and the animals and the fun. All right, so same thing with this. If yours has decide what direction you want it to go, and then same thing, start at the top. Be really careful as you go to lay it down. Make sure you're at the edge that you want, and there you go. All right. So now we've got that going. Okay, so we've got that. Now we're going to open this up. And as we open up yours, you can see that you've got this 4x8 piece right here. So go ahead and grab your 4x8, and you can set that one down. I'm going to do the same thing. On the inside, I decided, actually, I've got to stop and think because I'm not sure I was going to do that. I'm trying to decide. I may have to wait on this. I've got to decide until I go. But you go ahead and do this piece here. and get that one down. And I'm going to lay mine here because I went back and forth. And so as I put mine all together, I may change my mind. For now, I'm going to leave it like that. But go ahead and put this piece down here. Again, your 4x8 piece. Oh, yay. I'm glad you're going to be making it with it. You'll have to tell me what you do differently, Geneva, how you lay your papers out. I'm telling you, this one was a little bit hard for me. It surprised me, but I think it's all the characters and how in my mind I feel like I should be using them. So I didn't want to lose anything there. All right, so once you get that piece done, then what you're going to have is you're going to have this piece here that we talked about that's going to be our fold. It's going to be this main piece that you have. Okay, now I'm using this piece, which is the cardboard. However, you don't have to use this. You could use just a regular 6x12. Just again, no, you definitely want to use heavy cardstock when you do, because you've got all of this moving pieces inside, and you want to make sure that it's going to be nice and held well. All right, so if I've got this here, what I'm going to do, we want to center it inside the 8x8 piece here. And we're going to, again, we're going to adhere it down on the back. And so I keep playing with mine because I want to make sure that this piece here is covered. Okay. And I may have a little hard time to do that. I didn't have a hard time with this one, so it's interesting on that. But we can always take some tape, or I can make sure that my embellishments go there. So I would recommend that if you have some of this showing, if you do it, because when you open it up, you don't want it to show on the inside either, right? So go ahead, have some of that. If yours is like that, go ahead and adhere that down here in the center. And then after we put our paper on here and do all of that, you can put an embellishment here, and that will help cover it up as well. So don't worry, I will show you how we're going to do that. But right now, we just want to glue just one piece of this down, one side, and we're going to do it to the center. Again, this one is a definite, you want to use the tear and tape. All right. And I'm going to the edges, but I'm not like trying to be super, super close to the edges. I'm not super worried about that because it's going to be protected from the bigger pieces doing that. But I still want to make sure it's not just hanging over and I have like a half of an inch that can get picked up. We don't want that, right? All right. Here we go. I actually wanted to make one of these with our new Christmas papers, and they just came in. So I had some of them, but I didn't have all the pieces that I wanted for it, and so I wasn't able to get it together. Oop, be very careful as you go to do it. Make sure that you're kind of lined up well. It's nice that I have my grid because this is an 8x8 and this is a 6x6. So I know that I want to do it 1 inch from 1 inch from the bottom and 1 inch from each side, and that's going to help me be able to kind of get that nice and even. All right, so there we go. All right, so we've got that. As you can see, that's going to open up. So we're opening this up. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to make this little insert piece, okay? So go ahead and take your cardstock. As you can see, you've got lots of pieces of this cardstock here. And this, again, is where you're going to need your trimmer and scoring blade and your bone folder, okay? So I'm going to move mine out of the way for a second. I'm going to grab in here. You should have, I want to make sure I say this correctly. You should have a large piece of 5.5 by 10.25. So that's this one. And then you have an 8.5 by 5.5. Okay. So let's go and start with a 10.5 or 10.25 by 5.5. Again, I'm just double checking it. And we are going to score it at 4 3/4. That is not the center place. So just something to consider. 4 3/4 is where we're going to score it. Okay. And mine that I have here is the two-sided. It's a little bit thinner than what I sent you. What I sent you was the more heavy duty paper, and I prefer that, but I didn't have any for this one, so I had to use the thinner. So I have to kind of pay attention to think about what color and what side I want to be able to see. So if you recreate this later, kind of keep that in mind. I do think the standard 8.5 by 11 cardstock that Stampin' Up! Carries, with it being the heavier weight, is the thing to do for this. But if you don't have it, that's okay. Okay, so as you can see, because I'm going without it. All right, so again, the 8.5 by 5.5, we're going to go ahead and put it in, and we're going to score it at 5.5. Let me open this up. 6 and 6.5. All right. So then while we have this out, let's go ahead and get our 9 by 4 piece. We're going to need this for a lot more, but if we get our 9 by 4, that may kind of get us a little bit started anyway. Let me see what I did with that one. I think this is it. No, I think this one might be something different. This is my 8.5 by 5.25. Oh, yep. Go ahead. If you have your 8.5 by 5.25, you can score that at 3.5. Since I grabbed it, I'm going to go ahead and do it. So this is my 8.5 by 5.25. And again, just double check. 8.5 by 5.25. Again, we're going to fold it, and you can see it's not a direct half fold. So that's why it kind of makes, it's important that I tell you, most of the time we're used to just folding them in half, and we don't want to do that in some of these, okay? So I'm going to put that there. Now I've got a 9 by 4 that I should have here, but I may have changed the color. I don't remember. But if you have your 9 by 4, go ahead, take that out, and you're going to score that at 4.5. And I may have to go back and do mine because I don't see it. So we'll see. I'll get to it, but I want to make sure I didn't change it. If you could just see my desk right now with all the little pieces, because I've been playing around and trying to adjust how I wanted to do this. It's quite interesting. So, and then of course, it's like, oh, did I want to do this or do that, right? I keep it fun and interesting, and I change it constantly. Okay, so what we want to do is this piece here, we want to go ahead and fold. As you see, I've got 3 different score lines. Let me see if I can pull this up. It's so hard. There you go. You can see I've kind of barely can see it. But go ahead and you're going to fold in and then back in the center and then do it again. And so basically you want a valley, mountain, valley. Okay, so that's what we're wanting to do. And I'm just going to take my bone folder and make sure that all of those creases are really good. All right. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of our score tape again, or our tear and tape. Sorry, I think I'll always think of it as score tape just because that's what it reminds me so much of. And that's what I started with years and years ago. And you're going to put that where, if I'm looking at this backwards, where when I fold it together, it kind of comes. So remember I said valley, mountain, valley. So we want to put it in between the 2 valleys so that the mountain can stay up. I hope that makes sense. Okay, just like that. And then we're just going to push this down. Make sure I've got a really good save. There you go. Okay. So remember, this was our 5.5 inch piece. So we're going to grab our other 5.5 inch piece. This was our 5.5 by 10 and a, or yeah, 5.5 by 10.25, and we folded it. And remember, we've got this little bit of a gap here. Okay. So what we want to do with this is we're going to add some more tape here, and we're just going to put this right up to there so that we're creating this one long piece. Okay, you can see that that's where that's going to go, right? So we just want to put some tape right here. Yep, and my tape is out. All right. Look at all of these. They're like barely anything in there. This is how much I love to use it, but this is a great way to kind of not have to have all these rolls out here, right? Okay. Varnish that down just a little bit so I can make sure it doesn't create any puckers in my paper. All right. How's everybody doing? Am I going too fast, too slow? Hope everybody's doing okay with this. All right, so again, I am just putting this right in to this edge. So you should be doing it with the Pretty Peacock, and I am using the Peaceful Pine, which I think has become one of my favorite colors from this year's color of the year. I can't tell you how much of this I use. Okay, so there's that. And so this is what it looks like. Okay, so as you can see, mine, I wish honestly that it was, and I'm going to go ahead and take this and just burnish it down just a little bit. I wish that I had the thicker cardstock so that all the color was the same all the way across, but it's going to be okay because, especially with this paper, because I've got these different colors that are on there for like the characters and stuff. We'll see a little bit of it, but I do like how it's the same color all the way across. This is probably one time I would choose that paper over this because I love to use this for most of my scrapbooking. Okay, so we've got that, right? So what we're going to do is we're gonna put all of our pieces together in here, and then we're gonna adhere it into our little booklet. Okay. So the first thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna get your I believe. Hold on one second. Let me make sure I tell you the right piece because there's a couple of them that are a little odd shaped. It's a 5.5 by 5.5 piece. I believe this is the one I chose. Yep. This is this piece right here for you. Okay. So it's 5.5 by 5.5. And what we're going to do is we're just going to put this right in the center. And hopefully, okay, hold on one second. I was looking at my notes and I want to make sure I did not just accidentally close out my video. I'm so sorry about that. All right, nope, we're good. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and cut this one on those diagonals, just like that. And when I'm cutting on the diagonal, I like to start in the center. That way I don't bend up the little sharp edges on the corner, okay? So we're gonna hold this one aside, and this is gonna go on the bottom. But this one, because we cut this one a little short, we need to shorten this. So this one you kind of have to play with a little bit. If you look, it's not gonna be a perfect triangle because you've got one side that's slightly longer than the other. So what I start with is I always take it and flip it over so that I've got a straight edge, however I'm doing it. And I just take 1/4 of an inch off of both sides, okay? Top and bottom. And then I know I'm gonna have to go back and get more. I've done this enough times that I do know that, but I'm still going to come back here and check it. And you can see I've still got about 1/4 of an inch over here that I need to take off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 1/4 of an inch from here to here. And hopefully, perfect. All right. Now on this one, you can use the tear and tape or you can use a liquid adhesive. I'm probably going to use a liquid adhesive just because I know that the liquid adhesive is going to do a great job holding it, and I can get pretty close to the edges with the liquid adhesive. And all I want to do is do it to create a pocket. Okay, so I'm just going to do it along the straight edges and leave the diagonal open. Okay, so I'm going to do that on both sides. Now, if you are using a different pack of paper than what we're using, make sure, and it has a pattern on it that has a definite direction, make sure that you, as you cut this, that you pay attention to the direction. I purposely did not choose one that had a direction for here or for mine because I wanted to make sure that I didn't mess it up because, you know, it's an evening. So by this time of night, thinking through things and not making mistakes does not in my favor typically. Okay, so I've just done it on both sides. So this one is a solid and this one is like it goes from each corner and it's the whole thing. And this one is a little bit short on this side. You could also take this one and put it on this side so that you have two pockets that are the same. But I like to really just kind of change it up a little bit. So that's how I did it. Now you have a 5x5 square. And so you're going to take your 5x5. Again, this one has the directions here. And then you also have the black and white. And I will say this is, if you're playing with this paper and creating along with me, you know this. All of these papers have a black and white design on the back. So if you love black and white, this is a perfect paper because the black and white can coordinate with all of this and you can use different sizes and do sides and do different things. So feel free if you ever want to change out any of them, do so and make the black and white pop a little bit more. But it works really, really well in here. We were able to see both sides and kind of go from there. So you're going to take that 5x5 and you're going to put yours right there along. And you're going to, as you put it in, let me show you really quickly. I'm going to find mine. But I did not go all the way to that edge. Let me see if I can get really close and you can see it. I did not go all the way to the edge. I went in maybe 1/8 of an inch to the edge, not all the way. I basically wanted it to be, when I had it open, I wanted to have a good border all along the sides of it so that that looked like it was a frame. So before you adhere yours down, make sure it's got a good frame all around it, okay? And then let me see. Remember, I told you I changed mine up a little bit, so I want to make sure that that's for this cover. Well, I'm not sure what I did with mine. Let me grab some more. I'm sure I will find it here, but let me grab some more of my paper and see if I can cut some up real quick. And maybe remember what I did. Here's the problem. When you clean up your desk, then it's kind of like, okay, where did I put everything, right? I don't know if anybody else has that problem, but I absolutely do. I think I'm good to go. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh no, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? Okay. So once you get that 5x5 done, oh, here it is. I found it. It got pushed up underneath one of the other pieces. Okay. So once you put your 5x5 down and you're putting it here. So remember, you want it to attach to this back edge. And again, because this is going to be a flap, I am going to use my liquid adhesive and I'm going to put it all the way close to the edge. All right. I'm hoping I was thinking this correctly. Because for some reason, nope, I wasn't. Okay, hold on. I wanted it the blue side. Got to stop and think about that. All right, I wanted the blue side facing here because I'm going to put some more animals. Remember, I told you I got to think about mine a little bit because it's different. But yours would be just fine to use this black and white and the pink like I sent you. So I'm just making sure this is nice and even like that. Okay. Let me give mine a little bit longer to dry. And then you can take you can see here where I took the vellum. We're going to take our vellum piece and we're just going to fold our vellum right in half. And then take Oops, I'm sorry. Guess I have some people either letting the dogs out or something. And go ahead and take your bone folders to make sure you got a good solid crease. Now with vellum, it's one of the things you usually have to think about is that, adhesive can easily show through with this. I've found that it still does the same thing for liquid adhesive, but if I put some in the center and I don't worry so much about the edges, because it's going to be, as you can see, inside something, right? If I do it like that, with a design, you won't notice it as much. And that's also going to be where you're going to end up putting a picture or some journaling. So it kind of gets lost in the background paper. And then if you have picture of journaling or your picture that you put in there, that's going to be taken care of just fine. Okay, so you can put a picture or journaling here, open it up, do more here. And if you wanted, you could even do more here. All right, so now we're going to open this up and we're going to create this cute little mini book. Okay, so go ahead. This is going to be your 4x9, I believe. Your 4x9 piece. Yep, your 4x9. And you're just going to go ahead and fold it in half and create, fold it in half to create that at the top. And I think on this one, I'm going to take some brown early espresso and change that. And if that's not what I was thinking, I will go back later. But that's what's in my mind at the moment. So we're going to go with it. All right. You can go ahead and take one of your 4 1/4 by, this is our white pieces, 4 1/4 by 3 3/4, I believe is what it is. I've got all these little pieces here. Oh. And we're looking to put the one on the inside. Yep, this one's right here. So I'm going to put this on the inside. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take, this is the piece I told you I had already cut for you that you should have down. It's the same size as what you just put inside, but it has this going across it. You're going to want to put that as your cover. And so here's the piece that I had cut out. So now you can see why I did not want to have my animals, my figures on this side, because it would have been a lot right there side by side. And the blue here will draw out the blue here. So that was what I was thinking about as I created it. However, as I've done this, I don't like the brown. I want green. So let me grab some more green and do that real quick. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, make this your own. If you don't love how I did it, that's okay. Do it like you want, but make sure that it's what you want and that you can take any paper pack. You don't have to follow that it has to be this piece or any of that. You can change it and make it the way you want it to be. And again, that's what I really, really like about this. On all of these, I changed up. You can see it's not the exact same piece of paper, and I'll show you what I mean in just a second. All right, so this is going to go on the outside, and this one I can just go ahead and adhere normally with the normal tape that I would choose to use for a card or a layout. Okay, so we're just going to put this in centered. Okay, and then this one's going to go inside, and we will come back and do embellishments at the end. So we just want to get our book together set right now. Okay. Okay. And so this is going to go right here inside this flap, just like that. Cute, cute, cute. I hope you like it. Again, this is another area that you could add a photo. So feel free to put a photo there if that's something that you would like to do. Totally up to you and how you want to, how you want to embellish this up or change it up. Use it for as many possible ways as you can. Okay. So the next thing you're going to do, we had talked about this piece here where we went ahead and we folded it. This is our long piece. This is going to go centered right in this area. Again, because this is part of our fold, I would use our score tape or tear and tape. Sorry, old habits die hard. Okay. Again, I'm just going to put it right to the edge. All right. Now, I'm going to tell you as well, if you haven't seen yet, I posted on my page today, I'm starting a paper pack, not really a swap, but where you can, like, you're going to share. And so instead of, if you want to see what all the different papers are, but you're not sure you need a whole pack with multiple pieces of all of it, but you have some ideas of how you could use it, this is the perfect way to get a sampling of all the different papers that are coming out in the September to December catalog and the September online exclusives. You get a 6 by 12. So that's a little bit different. We're doing a 6 by 12. I've seen other people do 6 by 6, but I prefer to do 6 by 12 because I do a lot of scrapbooking. And 6 by 12 is much easier to incorporate into a layout. If I have to cut it in half or do something, I can do it a 3 by 12, a 2 by 12. I can do different sizes with that. So a 6 by 12 works really, really well to get a sampling of each piece and then be able to know, be able to incorporate it into layouts and not just cards. But you'll get a 6 by 12 of each piece of paper in every paper pack, and that includes DSP and specialty paper. And I did include in it also this, I think it's oh, don't hold me to it. It's, the name is like a lined shimmer paper. It's beautiful. And it did come out, I believe, in the August online, or maybe it was July online, but it's beautiful and it works really, really well with some of the other papers. Okay, so here we're just going to go ahead and we're centering it just like, and lining it up with this piece right here. Okay, so I want you to see what I did over here. It's hard to show both of them, I'm sorry. So here, this is where it is, and it's lining up with that other piece. So I'm just going to put that down just like that. All right. And when we open it up, well, we'll open it up in a minute, but as you can see, we're going to put some here and here. We can play all around with it. Okay, so go ahead and get your striped piece here. And let me see what I chose. Yeah, this is what I chose here. So I am going to have a bunch there, and I could flip this around and use it like this, but I'm going to have it one way or another. But if you notice, this actually has different characters than that one, and that's why I chose to do that. And I am going to end up covering some of it up, so that was fine with me. But I haven't showed a lot of the characters. They're going to be a lot of my embellishments, so I really wanted to include them in here. All right. There's that. Now, if we open it up, we're going to go ahead and take our large. I think it's like a 5. Let me see, a 5.5 or a 5 by 5, or a 4.25 by, or I'm sorry, 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. Yep. And that's going to go here in the center. Make sure I cut that right. I'm not sure that I did. Hold on. All right. One looks a little smaller. Hopefully yours is cut right. Let me see what I chose to do. Let's see. It should be, yeah, 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. And mine says that. It just looks a little funny. So I don't know, but we're going to go ahead with it. So I'm going to check in on my blade, just make sure I didn't miss something. Yep, we're going to go with it. Okay, so this is going to go in the center of that piece. And then we're going to push this down just like that. Now, we're going to go ahead and you want to take your strawberry slush, I believe is what I gave you in your pack. You're going to go ahead and take that there, and we're going to use that. And I think I'm going to change mine up a little bit from what I was thinking. Hold on. I've got this or this. And I think both would work, but I know on the outside I want this. This one's got some blue. So let me look and see what I was thinking. If you only knew all the little things I had to think about as I was over here. So why I have all these little pieces of paper, because it changed up so much for mine. Okay, so let's do that. I think I like this. I want to play with it. This is brand new. This is coming out in this new collection. Hello, Miss Mary Lee. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're having a great Tuesday evening. I had to stop for a second as I said that and make sure it's Tuesday evening. I don't even know. All right, so all I'm doing is just bringing it in through here. And then I'm just going to make sure I've got a little extra. And then I'm going to cut it. Because all we're going to do is just tie like a little knot, a double knot on there. So I don't need a lot of extra. In fact, if you're good about it, you could do it and then cut it, which is what I'm going to try and do. That way I have more for later. All right, so you're going to double knot it there and then take your finger, hold it, and then just double knot it again. And try and just get it as tight as you can. So before I pull this one super tight, I'm going to make sure my bottom one is tight, or try. And then there we go. Oh, I'm glad you like it, Mary Lee. We're changing it all up today. But that's the fun of it, making it our own, right? All right, that one I said make it tight, and I didn't make it tight, so I'm going to retighten it. All right. So just do that. And then tighten it. Now, again, I did not add a ton of gems or anything to it. You can see I did on the inside of the one that you're creating, and I sent them to you that way. Well, of course, I can't talk and tie at the same time, right? And I don't want that twisted. You may not care, but I do. I don't like it to be twisted on the sides. I want it to lay flat. All right. Here we go. There we go. All right, I like that better. And then you're going to take your adventures and you're going to go ahead and adhere that down. Now, the best way to adhere down to a ribbon is by using glue dots. So if you have any glue dots, you definitely want to go ahead and try and do those. And then you can see where I put some of our gems around there, and we will do that later on as well. But if you have yours out and you want to, definitely go ahead and do that. And then that might help it hold and stay down. Like I said, I'm going to go back and embellish mine later, but I thought it would be fun to kind of play with it as we go. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our white piece. I want to make sure I grab the right one. I've got all of these that we created. I want to make sure I tell you which one to do. Okay, so this one is going to be our 4.5 by 3.5, and we're just going to lay that down right here on top. Okay, so again, see how a lot of my characters are kind of going to be gone? I could absolutely leave that and have the characters here. But I'm going to put it like this, and then I can add more characters around there, and it doesn't feel like, again, that it's going to be so busy. So because I'm still kind of playing with how I want to do it, I'm just going to put one little piece there, and then that way if I change my mind later, I can. And then I'll go back and add more. So we're just kind of centering it side to side, coming down. We want to have about 1/2 of an inch gap at the bottom so that you can definitely tell that it's a flip, right? And remember, you're going to go back. We're going to add our embellishments here at the back, add some of our washi here and do that. So we're good to go. And then over here, all this one is just another piece of cardstock that you can use. You can put more embellishments on this as well. But this can be a base for your, like a photo mat or for journaling. So, and this one is going to be your 3.5 by 4.5. I want to make sure I told you that one correctly. So 3.5 by 4.5. We've got a couple different that are very, very close in size. So I want to make sure I've got the right ones. All right, let's try that. All right, so there. So now we've got all of that created. Okay, so you can see how that came together, right? So now what we want to do, I'm going to move this out of the way just for a minute. We're going to pull in our book again, our base that we had. Here's my base. Remember, I'm going to go back and put my top there after I decide for sure what I wanted. But see, remember how I said I wasn't sure I wanted my characters, but that I would want the blue? And this is why I waited, because I've got so much characters here. Even though it's super cute, I'm going to have my blue there. So now I know exactly what I want to do, and I'll go back and do it. So let's go ahead and close this up. We will do that one in just a second, and this, but let's go ahead and close it up. We're going to put our tear and tape right here and center it inside this white area there. All right. There we go. I heard the sad news today that Dolly Parton has passed away. I was really shocked. I see her come up on my feed all the time just with the different things that she's doing in Tennessee and all of that. So I didn't think anything about it at first when I saw it. And then somebody did a quick reel, and I think it was like her bodyguard is what she said, or something like that, or what he said. And he did like a speech for her and said that she had passed. So we got many books throughout the years from Dolly Parton's Imaginations. I think it's Imagination Station or Imagination something. But we loved getting those books. My kids thoroughly enjoyed them. And obviously she's known for a whole lot more, but you know, when you have children, it's those things that stick out in their minds for sure. All right, so we are just folding this up and we're centering it in here, just like that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put this down as you're doing that real quick. Hopefully I'm not slowing you down, but I want to put mine in while I'm thinking about it so I don't forget. Okay. So on the instructions that I sent, or if you wanted to purchase the instructions, if you didn't get the free tutorial with your order in July, you can still do that. In the instructions, though, one of the things I said was, I showed the picture of the paper that you would use, and I said that this piece would be the same thing as down here, and then you'll see as well that this piece that you have here is the same as the piece here and here. And obviously you're going to see in mine, that's not the case, right? But this is how you truly make it your own. And so I want you to feel free to change it up. I know if you're like me, I normally cut up all my paper first and then put it together. But this might be one of those things that you look and you know what the pieces are for and the dimensions of what they are, and you see where it's going to be laid out, and then decide if you want to use that. Because you will see in every single one of my albums, it changed. That piece changed a little bit. Well, I'm really bad about laying it down in one spot and not being completely ready. And remember, I had said on this one, you don't want to go all the way to the edge because you want to make sure that you have that fold. There you go. Just like that. Okay. So back to our booklet here. So if I close this, now I've got these two little pieces here that we're going to use. And these are 2-inch pieces, and we're just going to flank basically that fold and put those right there. And at first I thought, well, that's kind of silly, but you know what? I understood why they did that, because it changed without having to use a whole piece of paper. It just kind of changed the dimensions of it and gave it a really cute design, I thought, and allowed the background paper to kind of come through it as well. All right, so just like this. And then you're going to take, I think it's a 5x5, or maybe, let's see. Yep, your 5x5, and we're going to just center it right in there. So as you can see, I'm not even getting much there. Okay, same thing. just centering it, just like that. All right, now the way this, you can fold it up however you want, but the initial idea is that this piece will go down and then this one will be here. So, and then you would put this on top and then this would go here. So we're gonna get to those pieces in a minute, but let's go ahead. We're gonna fold this one up and you can see now you've got a 2.5-inch piece, and this matches, like we were just talking about. You can change it up if you want, but it matched the back piece, this piece here, and that. So all of that would be coming from the same paper. And for me, I changed mine up to be this one right here. Again, this one was really hard for me to do because of all of these little seams that are there. I love those seams. Okay. And you're just centering it. Same thing, you can use this and just leave it completely blank, or you can put a photo there. You can do some journaling there and put some embellishment around it, however you want. Okay. So please, please, please make this yours, okay? And think about how you're going to want to embellish that and change that up. All right, so now let's go down here to the bottom. So you should have this colored block piece, and I'm going to change mine up because remember how I said I really, really love to be able to use these pieces. Let me see if I can push this up a little bit more so you can see it better. I think you can see those. Let me see better. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to put mine across where I have you having yours around the edge right here. You're going to put it all the way to the edge and you're going to see it's not going to come all the way to the end. That's okay. Same thing what I have here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put that down. But I pulled out a seam that I liked. I thought it was super cute. And this again, use the paper that you have. Make this cute. Make it the way you like it. So I liked this seam. And then I'm going to put this one right here, right below it, and you're going to take yours. Same thing when you put it down. Make sure that since you're creating a pocket, you're only putting your adhesive along the one edge, and then you're going to put it top and bottom. Now, I did take a circle punch, and I did punch that out, and I'm going to do the same thing here on this one. You can take a punch. If you've got a die cut that you like real well, you can do that as well. If you know me, I love all of the die cuts that are like the different shapes and that kind of thing. Like I just think that they're awesome. And the stylish shapes has always been one of my favorite in those regards because this has the little, the stitching, I guess, little indents that are on both sides. So when I cut it out, it's not going to just be on the side I'm going to lose, but it's also going to be on the side that I'm going to keep. So let me put this through real quick on my platform. All right. I'm sorry. Hold on one second. I'll be done in just a second. And when you do it, just make sure you try and center as best as you can. I say that. I'm not sure that I will be able to, but I'm going to try. Oh. So I'm sorry if everything got a little shaky over here, but I've got my new foiling system over here. And so I've been using my cutter over here next to it. And so it is on the same table. Now, here is the issue. I didn't stop and think about. See how I have that? I needed to do a smaller one. Yours, you should have plenty of room, but mine obviously went really deep. So let me get another piece of that real quick. Because if I don't do it now, I won't do it. Or I won't remember to do it. And then I'll be mad when I go to take this out and I see what it did, right? Let me see real quick. This is a 3/4 by 2 1/4. Okay, sorry about that. I'm slowing it down, aren't I? But you know, we all make these mistakes. Okay, so this is how you do it. Just kind of make sure, like test it, look at it before you go. I don't have much room. I'm just gonna have just enough, I think, to be able to do it because I chose to use that design. But most of the time, you're not gonna have that issue at all. So we're just gonna go ahead. We're gonna put it through again. I'm gonna take just a little bit of washi tape and try and see what it looks like. Make sure I'm not gonna go too low again. And hopefully you didn't run into that problem either. So mine's gonna be, like I said, just small enough that I think it's going to, let me just look there. It's just going to give it that little bit of notch. All right. What do you think so far? Are you liking it? Are you feeling like it makes sense and it's all laid out? Hey, Joetta. You are fine. I didn't even see it, so it's all good. I'm glad you got to join us tonight. Okay. So here we go. Maybe that will be a little bit better. Yeah, see, all of that's covered up in there. So again, we're just going to take our adhesive and we're just going to put our adhesive all along the corners, the bottom, and the two sides, leaving that top open so that it can stay as a pocket. And I have found that when I've used the tape for pockets, it doesn't hold as well. So that's where the liquid adhesive really is the bomb diggity. Okay, so there you go. So right now you should have basically this done. And then let me show you real quick. I'm going to take out one of the other books and show you another idea in that spot. So on here, they just took a simple, I say they, as I recreated this one, but as they had instructed when I originally saw it, they just took a simple piece of cardstock and they stamped on it. So don't feel like if you just have cardstock and you don't want to have like use your background texture paper or any specialty paper, you can use cardstock and just take and do tone on tone and create a scene there. I almost did that, but because I had this, it did basically the same thing. And I needed to go on the bottom and change it up a little bit. So that's just for you, like some different things to think about. And again, on this piece, instead of stamping on it, even though I was thinking I would, I really liked putting in the pieces of the ephemera. Okay, so put this. Okay, so this is going to go here. I almost put it inside my book. This is going to go here. So what this is now is you're going to take out that piece that we had looked at previously, the 7.5 by 5, and we could fold it in half. So you're going to get that out. And there is another step to it. So bear with me. I'm going to kind of walk you through that a little bit. Trying to make sure I've got my piece. Okay, so let me see. Yep. All right, so we're going to fold this in half. You can score it if you've got your scoring tool right there and it's not going to get in your way. Okay, and then take your bone folder. Now, before you adhere on your white piece, you're actually going to take another piece of cardstock that fits right within there. All right, and what we're going to do, and again, I'm trying to make sure I've got the right piece since I had so many pieces here. I want to make sure I'm not grabbing the wrong one. Don't think that's it. Nope. Okay. So we've got that. And then we're going to put a little piece right here. It's 3/4 by 3.5, I think. Let's see. By 3.25. So 3/4 by 3.25 is going to go right there at the very top of that. And I'm taking this piece, which makes me think I was going to use a different piece. Let me see. And we're going to adhere that to the white. So you have your cardstock, you have your white piece, and then we have this that we're going to put right here at the top. Now, I know it seems odd that I used white instead of French vanilla. And on my other book, I did because there was no white in that paper pack at all. But if you look up Silly Old Bear, there actually is white. Like all of this has white here. You got your little white pieces there. So I didn't feel bad about using that. I could definitely change these pieces out to French vanilla, make that work. But I also have my white here as the background. So any of that's going to work. It's not going to be a problem. So the first thing we want to do, we're going to adhere this down. Might be running out of tape on that one too. And I'm just doing it not even quite a quarter of an inch from the top. Okay, I'm going to attach that to this extra little piece that we had here. This is, again, 3.5 by 4 3/4. We're just going to attach that on there. All right, now we're going to take some more of our ribbon. So again, you're going to be taking your strawberry slush. I'm going to just take this. Now, what I want you to think about is where you're going to tie the knot on this one. You want to do it on the side opposite of where it's going in. Because if you do it on this side, you're going to have a hard time pushing it in, obviously, right? So mine is going to end up going like this. So it's not going to matter as much. Actually, what I'm thinking I might do is have it like this and have it open. I'm still trying to decide, but I do think, let me see what that looks like. I was thinking about that as I created this earlier, what I wanted to do. So that would it allow me to see any more of the design? I don't think so. So maybe I'll do it like this, and then if I want to add another piece of paper in there, I can. So just think about that as you go to lay it down. Again, these are just things that I think about as I'm creating. And I hope that you'll think about them too as you're creating and kind of change it up and, again, make it your own. I would have loved to have some of the pine ribbon, but we have been out of stock of pine ribbon for quite some time. So that made me really sad. I have not been able to get my hands on it. And like I said, I think pine is my new favorite color for this special 2-year release. I hope that they keep that around. And I also hope that they keep around Secret Sea from from last year when they do the new refresh this next year. That will make me very happy. All right, so I'm just going to cut off the ends, make sure it's still nice and pretty. The blue kind of looks a little funny, I think, honestly, against the green. However, because I've got my blue right here and I've got my blue right here, and if I put a picture here or if I put in some of my embellishments here, I think that it's going to be just fine. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and take my liquid adhesive. Again, this one would work really well with the tear and tape as well. Okay. And we're just going to adhere that here, just like that. All right, so now I'm just gonna go ahead and put that in. Again, we're gonna open it up. I just wanna make sure I could fit it in. It was all gonna be good. So go ahead, open it up, and now we're gonna put another piece of paper right inside. That's gonna be for our embellishment or for our journaling embellishments, however you wanna do it. So here's yours. You can see that's right there inside. So you should be about done with all your pieces of paper, but if just in case, it should be a 3.5 by 4 3/4. And I'm just checking mine to make sure I'm using the right one. Yep. All right. Just gonna do it right there. And again, we will go ahead and we'll go back and add some embellishments, that kind of thing. So we can tuck this here. So far, this is what we've got, right? Now we need to do this piece here, okay? So as we close it up, you're gonna go ahead and take this last piece that you have. This is going to be mine. Okay. And again, I know that I have this here. I can add some embellishments. I can do some different things. I can even take my sponge. I didn't have that issue on any of my others, but of course, because we're online, we're going to. Now, I would recommend, again, the tear tape for this because this is your outside area and it's going to be flip flap. And so go ahead and get it all the way to the very edge and make sure you got tear tape on each spot, just like that. All right. Just like this, all the way. Oh, that's perfect. I just ran out. How perfect is that? I've only, my third roll? But hey, remember, it was because most of them were used by the time I got to them. So if you have a new roll, you should have plenty left. Okay. Oh, just like that. All right. So obviously with mine, I have a design on it. So I want to make sure my design's right side up. Yours can go any way you want it. And then you're just going to center it on your paper, which we all know is probably what I'm the worst about, but we're going to go with it. There we go. All right, I will go back and take care of that spot in a minute. So here we have it. This is how it's going to close it so far. This is what we've got. So now we need to work on this little piece here. All right, so go ahead. You've got your square of your cardstock. I've got mine here. And then you should also have another piece that matches. It's your polka dots. So I'm matching what I had in the background. So here that is, and you're just going to center that. And tell I'm running out because it's making it hard to go with. Let me get my big old gun because that's going to have plenty. All right. And we're just going to center it just like that. Now, here is where you can make this whatever you want to on your front cover. As you can see, I did Hello Summer, and you've got your numbers so that you can put 2026 there. You could make it another year. You can do however you want to do it. And I did pop that up with 3D foam tape. So go ahead and grab that and then put your letters on there. What I've got actually is I had cut out a design to be able to use it. And so remember how I had said I love to use all the little designs that are in there. So I went ahead and I pre-cut mine out. Since I knew yours was already going to be pre-cut out, I'm going to go ahead and put some foam tape there to pop it up. Now I was a little sad because this was the biggest frame for this die right here. The die, this was the biggest one. There wasn't another one. But I'm going to show you when that happens, you can either do two things. You can fussy cut around it. And I'm not as good of a fussy cutter where it's going to show like that, where you've got one cut and then you're going to see more. So what I do is I just put my embellishments around it and underneath it so that it kind of creates that dimension. So I'm going to take this here. It's easier to do this before we attach it. So that's why I'm having you do it now. All right. And this is one thing I'm going to show with some of my embellishments. I know we haven't done many or any embellishments up till now, but this is one thing I'm going to show you real quick. All right. So I'm just going to kind of center this in, and it could tend to get lost because, you know, I've got a busy pattern here, and then I've got this, and there's nothing really to make it pop up off and separate it, right? So the best way to do that is for your embellishments. So we're just going to take some embellishments here and kind of pop them in. Now, this is what I'm doing. Obviously, you're going to create just like this, but if you're creating something on your own later, this might be something that you want to do. So something to kind of think about. Just like that. All right, and see how that makes it kind of pop a little bit more. It doesn't get lost. Now, those are not glued down, but I just wanted to show you real quick. In my opinion, I just feel like that kind of helps it so that this does not get lost in that background. The other thing you could do is definitely you could take your blending brush and you could brush around the edges of that, and that would make it pop up a little bit more. So I'm showing you how I do it just because it's so much easier and quicker than trying to do a little bit of every on each piece. I just kind of put a big old blob there and then set it down. And that works well for me. Now on this, because they're not together, obviously, I have to do that. But how do I want to do that? Maybe I'll do it like that. There we go. All right. So hopefully you've got, let me see if I want to add any more. I did come out some of the littles. I love how this die set, I mean, you can either cut out, you can get two different sets. One is for the dies like this, and it does come with these little leaves and the acorns. And then there's another set that does all the different characters. Love that one too. I've got both, and I think they're phenomenal. So, especially because I'm not a good fussy cutter. Do I want to? I think I'm going to leave that one off for now. All right, I can play with that later. So we're going to adhere it here, but before we do, we need to lay out our ribbon. So what you want to do is you want to take your ribbon. You're going to put your ribbon up top like this, and you're going to, I've not glued anything down yet, okay? I'm just laying my ribbon out. I want to have a good little space here that's going to help me that I tie my bow. So I've got my ribbon here. I'm going to take this, wrap it around, make sure that it in the back that it's nice and flat, and then I'm just going to cut it just like that. So you're doing yours with this fun little pom-pom one, and I'm doing mine with this, which I just thought matched really, really well since I didn't have the green, the pine. Okay, so we've got that just like that. And those are about even. All right, so I'm just going to hold that there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my adhesive and I'm going to put, let me show real quick. So I want to kind of get a good idea of how I want this. I'm going to flip it over so that I can get an idea of where it is. And I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to mark with my pencil that right where the lid basically of our booklet comes down to. That means I want to put adhesive on this top area, but I don't want to go below there, okay? So, going for another thing of tear and tape. This one's brand new. Of course, at the very end, right? I get a brand new one. All right. Now, I'm using tear and tape on this A again. I keep saying the same thing, I know, but because it's a booklet and we're going to be flapping it and all the things. But it's also holding down the ribbon. And so we want to make sure that the ribbon's not going to come loose. And so when you're dealing with ribbon, like I said earlier, you want to kind of use a glue dot that holds really, really well to it. And this tear and tape will do a great job with it as well. All right. So we're just going to peel this up. I know some of you take photos professionally for others, and this would be a really cute thing that you could make for, like, if they were doing senior photos or something like that. You could dress it up and have a really elegant one, or for like a wedding or engagement photo, something like that. I'm showing it baby and fun, but like I showed you earlier, I think the one I did, Count It All Joy, was very elegant in my opinion. Okay, so here's that, just like this. And so now with that being tied down, when I go to open it, it's going to stay in there. I'm not going to lose my ribbon. It's all going to be in there. Do you see that? So now you're just going to take this and then tie your bow. Okay. Now I'm not going to tie the bow yet because I do want us to go back and add some of our embellishments. So you can take your time, add the embellishments that you like. You can fussy cut them out. If you have the die cuts, you can go ahead and die cut them out. I'm going to leave this open just for a minute so that you can kind of see how I finished this one off and go and add in some more. And I'm looking, I knew that this one had, all right, so Put that in there just like that, but you can kind of see how I fix it up. You don't have to do it just like mine, but that is going to give you some ideas of some things that you can do. Okay. So just an idea on that. I've got, whenever I'm creating, I like to go ahead and have a bunch of embellishments out and ready before I even begin. Because if I have to stop and create and cut them out and all of that, I never seem to finish. So I cut a bunch of these out so that I can go back and see. So I'm going to do that as you finish up yours, and we'll see what we can come to. So again, just have fun, make it your own. There's no big, you got to do it a certain way type thing. We're just kind of dressing up the page. You can also use some of these if you should choose and you're working on this kind of a layout. Again, love having these. Oh, I think I'm just going to keep it to the characters. This is probably the most boring piece that you can have with me, but it's these embellishments that I always think are so fun to have. So let's see. And you can, I did not do a lot of 3D foam tape on these because I wanted to make sure that it would fold up close, fold up well. So just keep that in mind as you're putting yours down, is you probably don't want to do a lot of pop up of your pieces here inside, or it's going to make it more bulky and harder to close. Okay. Maybe this one. All right, so again, on this one, you can open it up. I had just a little bit of embellishment here at the base. You can leave it alone. If you do put embellishments there, just make sure that you only put your embellishments just on that little corner. That way you can still get your photo, if you choose to put a photo in there, right up underneath. Okay, so it's something that you kind of want to think about as you're laying it out. I'm just going to take this, and because I did honey pots, I'm going to do some honey pots here. And let me, okay, I don't know if y'all have the silicone mat, but the silicone mat, again, balm diggity right here. This thing, I can do all kinds of glue, all kinds of things on it, and I don't have to worry about getting my fingers glued or any of that. I love it. Absolutely love it. So I do a lot of the gluing of my little embellishments and things I do right on here. And then I can just pick it up off of there. It's like the best thing. And the other thing I'll show you is, like, you can decide how much room you need, that kind of thing. But if you have like a mat that has the markings, I don't know if you can see it online, but you can see your grid up underneath. And so that makes it really, really cool for what you're trying to do as you're laying out your design. You can see that. And so set it up, make sure it's within the amount you want it, get it all set, and then just pick it up after it's glued together and put it where you need it to be. So I love that. All right. So here's this. I put on yours just a few little flowers right here in this corner. I'll pull that down a little bit. Maybe you can see that a little bit more. So I'm going to put, let's see, I think I'm going to put, got to think, they got long tails. And since we're going to fold this open, that's something you got to think about. You want to make sure it doesn't go beyond that paper. It doesn't stick off. So on this one, I got to make sure that I just do his feet at the bottom so that I can get the photo up underneath. Just like that. Give it just a minute to dry. Open it up. So I really want to have some there. Again, this is a good spot if I've got another one of these embellishments, one of the smaller ones. Let me see. I don't know if I do have many of the smaller. Let's see. No, I think I just want to kind of stay with the characters. Let's see. I do. Maybe something. Oh, you can't even see what I'm doing, but that's okay. You don't need to. You just need to work on yours. Let me put this on top so you can see it. You could be working on this little cluster if you need it. And I'm going to pull in some of my leaves that I had. Yeah, I like that. Again, just be careful. I'm sorry. Let me move some of my different embellishments. It's hard to show both of them at the same time, but make sure, like, see how I've got all of these right here, and I've got it clustered, and so that it kind of gives it dimension. Normally, I would put this one up on a 3D foam square or pop dot, but I didn't because, again, I want it to fold easily and well. So just something to kind of keep in mind as you're doing it. Okay, I'm going to bring this in again. Telling you, I love this. I just wish it was like a little bit bigger because I tend to get it put up underneath my paper and then lose it, and I don't love that. But I do love how easy it is to create with it. And not have to worry if it gets sticky or I get a little bit of extra adhesive glue, off of it. I'm not going to worry about it getting on my layout or my design. Okay. Because these are embellishments like this, I do recommend using a liquid adhesive. Again, because it's not going to be in a page protector. You want to make sure they're not going to come off easily. All right. Take that for now. All right, so on the inside, I just put a small little thing of your cherries here, and then I put a little flower here at the bottom. So just kind of keep that in mind, decide how you want to do that. I think I'm going to put little piglet there. Actually, I don't have a tiger shown yet, so let me do a tiger. Oh, actually, I did have a tiger, didn't I? It was on the other side. Forgive me, but I don't have... What is her name? I know Rue is the baby. I can't think of the mom. Again, just remember, if you want to be able to put pictures on here later, be careful about where you put the adhesive. All right. And honey is always a good idea, right? That's what they say. All right. I think I'm going to leave mine off of here right now until I know what I want to do because it's so busy on the back. I don't feel like it needs anything. This one was kind of plain, so I felt like it needed the flower here that we have. And then you can put there's something that you want to say, you can do it here with some more embellishments. So for me, I think I'm comfortable with the way that is so far. Let me get this back open for you. Oops. I say I'm comfortable, and yet I didn't finish the part I wanted to finish. All right, so I'm going to finish this spot right here. I think I'm wanting to do something like that. Looking to see which ones I still have. Let's see. Do I like that? What do I want to do? So see this part, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to bore you, but this part, a lot of it is just kind of playing and fooling around like where you think you want things. And I do think I actually like that just like that. It's very simple. Normally I wouldn't want it on a white background again because of the colors here, but the whites are pulling in the other whites that are in here. And because this is so busy and this is so busy, if I add another piece of pattern paper here, it's just going to be too busy, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and adhere that down. I love the straight paper too. And so it's very, very hard to choose between the straight paper and the scenes. There you go. And let's see, that's Piglet. Trying to decide if I put this here so that you don't see the mom behind it. And then when you lift it up, you do. But his tail is still a little too long. Let's see. What are our options? I don't like it because it's right there. It's too much right there with the same. I think I'll just leave it for now. I can decide later if I want to do something different, but I think it's simple like that, and I do like it. Okay. And then again, you should have your phrase here if you wanted that. I can go back and cut out a phrase if I wanted. Now you're also going to have this one little piece. It's a 1.5 by 5. And that's for like a title, journaling, whatever you want to say. That's going to go right here at the top. And then some more embellishments, should you choose to have an embellishment there. So I will put mine on. All right. And we want it towards the bottom, kind of, just because it's framing that and it's showing that it's going more regarding this, right? It's not a large piece, so that's why I had mine more towards the bottom. Again, that's how I chose to do it. Does it mean you need to do it that way? No, it's just the way I had chosen to do it. Okay, I do want to put, I hadn't had one of her yet there. So I'm going to do Piglet real quick. There we go. Give that a minute to dry. And I think we're pretty much good to go. What do you guys think? So you've seen it in 4 different designs now. Be interested to know which is your favorite. If you like the summer one that you made, I hope that you do. I hope that you've enjoyed that one and it's been fun. And that you can just play around with it, that you'll have pictures and things that you can do with it. There will be something that it will get used or that you can gift to somebody as well. But I think that this is something that I know the young adults right now are loving. They're loving the idea of being able to do something a little bit easier without having all of the extra fluff of having to have all, a bunch of papers, a bunch of things, a bunch of big books. This is just a cute little album that showcases one specific event or trip, that kind of thing. And so it just works really, in my mind, and from what I've heard from many others, that it works really well for their liking. So I hope that it's worked well for your liking as well. This ribbon is a little bit more stiff, so I've got to kind of play with it a little bit. It's not as pretty as if I had the pine, but I thought it would work well with this. Okay. So again, let's go ahead and close this. Whoop. Forgot to put the top down. Let me put the top down. It's summer. The top's supposed to be down, right? All right, close it up. Again, you're going to have this. It's going to go all the way to the back, and then you're just going to tie a bow. And that's it. Just like that. So let's bring in the other two just so we can see them all kind of together. You can kind of get some likings or not. Here's the other one, Count It All Joy. And then here's the original that I had made. This is a great one that you could do for like a Father's Day or a fishing trip, obviously with the fish, that kind of thing. But I love too that it can become like a Bible journal of something that God was teaching you as you were reading through something or something that you were taken through. So lots of different options and ideas and things that you can do with that. So, and again, definitely take a look at the paper share that I had posted earlier. The papers that you get, this would be a great thing that you could create with them. I will say, obviously, because of the back, 8x8 obviously is not going to fit if it's a 6x12, but all of the other pieces would be. And for your papers here, you could definitely take cardstock and use cardstock there. That's what I did on this one. Whoops, I just tied it without that being flat. But this is just plain cardstock here on the back. So don't feel like you have to have pattern paper on every single piece. I did not, okay? But for most of it, I did here. But these two sides, if you didn't have that, you could take just a piece of pattern paper, you could stamp on it, or a piece of cardstock, I apologize, and just stamp on it. But everything else basically could be done with the paper share, and it gives you a lot of different albums, different things that you could play with, paper packs, that kind of thing. And you could see how they all kind of coordinate together. So it's a great way to play with all the papers that are coming out without having to feel like you have to get a full pack of every single paper pack to be able to play with them. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed tonight. Let me know which one is your favorite. I'm just interested to see if you're more of a brights girl or more of a muted, if you like the male type version almost, or even with the silly old bear poo. So I hope you enjoyed it. You guys take care, enjoy the beautiful weather, and I will be back with you all soon. All right, we'll talk with you all later. Bye-bye.